Welcome to another episode of High Proof Ashes. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason JB Smoke, and across from me,
I know what it is, man. Duran, no cool nickname. We are not back in the building today. We are outside
location.
at a new location.
Yeah, we are upstairs, outside porch area,
Yeah.
OCL.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my
Ocoee Cigar
sunglasses
Lounge.
on. The sun behind you is actually kind of bright, so
Yeah, I actually brought mine with me, thinking I might need them, but I'm actually okay.
Yeah.
Got some shade in this direction, but I don't know if you guys can tell, but we got a little bit of a theme going on right here in front of us or beside us. We've got a bunch of different tailors and what have you, and some benchmarks over here, right? So there's a bunch of Buff Trace products,
all the same distillery,
right? But for our cigar, we have the E.H. Taylor Corojo wrapped cigar.
Yeah.
So this is one of the newest cigars, where Buffalo Trace or Sazerac teamed up with somebody.
Yeah.
Tried to find out who actually makes this. I couldn't find too much.
I have no clue, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I believe it's from Honduras, but other than that, don't really know.
Well, so the theme behind this that we wanted to do was, right, like we've tried all of the other ones.
We have.
We might as well do this one as well.
Absolutely.
I never expect too much from a liquor branded cigar.
Yeah. As far as I know, the Taylor has nothing to do with the actual cigar.
No, not at all.
Contracted it, put their band on it, whatever.
Pretty much.
But hey, we're gonna give it a try.
We're gonna give it a shot and see what happens.
The Eagle Rare one was
decent. Okay. I think the best of the bunch is probably the Pappy, right?
Yeah.
Because you get two different things from it. I like the newer Pappy more than I like the older Pappy.
Yes.
So I think that's part of it, but
that one kind of rises to the top because Pappy's actually involved.
Yes.
Right. So the leaf actually goes into Pappy barrels. So there's some involvement there. Whereas with most of these branded cigars,
they have no involvement.
They have no involvement whatsoever. Yeah. I mean, I think Maker's has got one. Weller's got one.
I wouldn't dare try. I'm not a fan of Maker's in general, so I feel like the cigar would just be a nightmare, to be completely honest.
But we'll see.
Yeah, this one, we'll see. I didn't realize that it had the little pigtail up here.
Oh, does it? Yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. This thing may surprise us. From what I remember, it's a Dominican with a Corojo wrapper, which is interesting because you don't see a lot of Corojo wrappers out of the DR.
No, and it should be a fairly light cigar.
I don't know.
I don't think I'm gonna get heavy tobacco out of it.
It smells great.
It smells phenomenal. I ain't gonna lie. When I first smelled it, I was like, "That's kind of shocking."
Smells like a super traditional cigar.
Yeah.
But hey, let's get this thing. Let's get this thing cut and lit, and then we can go over our
spirits.
Spirits for the day.
Let's see. I don't know if I got a good enough cut there. Apparently, I did. The cold draw was heavy.
Decent cold draw. Let's see what we got.
Doesn't taste terrible, so.
It tastes very traditional, like just old world style.
So this should be fun. I can't. Oh, I can actually see the flame. So there we go. It's always my fear when I'm smoking outside that I might lose a finger.
Huh. It's definitely got more than I thought it was going to have. Right off the bat.
It's a little bit stronger than expected.
Yeah. Okay. We'll give this thing a go.
I don't hate it off of first light.
Yeah, I don't hate it right off the bat.
But hey, we brought some bottles today. So let's talk about them. What'd you bring out?
All right, so I'm gonna go to the middle here for me. I believe that is the E.H. Taylor small batch, which if you don't know, everything that E.H. Taylor makes is a bottled in bond with a few exceptions. You actually have one of the few exceptions.
Yes.
They've got some one-offs that are exceptions, but for the most part, their regular production stuff, other than what you're going to talk about, is all bottled in bond. But that's just a small batch, so that's the introductory, bottom entry-level bottle. You can get that. That's actually a criteria bottle.
Yes.
If you can find it.
It's just allocated.
Right. It is allocated. But usually it's under $40. The one next to it is the single barrel, which is simply the same thing as a small batch, just a single barrel.
Yeah.
And then the one in the weird bottle is actually a homemade blend that I have come up with to replicate small batch.
Right.
made with on-the-shelf items.
Yeah.
So cost-wise, it ends up being about the same, but the fact that you can find all the bottles to make this makes it very, very.
And then you would be able to make you about 4 different bottles of it.
Yeah,
So
yeah, right. So
close.
it takes 4 bottles, and it's equal parts, so which is great. So you buy 4 bottles, and you get 4 bottles of E.H. Taylor, instead of these other bottles.
Yeah.
But that's what I got. So how about you, man? You got some little bottles here, little squat bottles.
Yeah. So we went from one extreme to the other. So I brought out a heater, right? Like I brought out a missile, which is the E.H. Taylor barrel proof. So damn near impossible to find. Got lucky. A friend really helped me out with that one.
I mean, let's talk about that for just a minute, though. Not the friend part, but this bottle in particular. Okay, so one thing that I really want you to take away from this bottle is, yes, it is an iteration of the other E.H. Taylors, but this is a foolproof, like barrel strength, like whatever you want to call it. This thing's 130 plus proof.
Yeah, it's like 131
like
or something.
They vary a little bit, but they're like 130 plus. No matter which one you pretty much get, they're like 130 plus.
Honestly, I haven't even looked at mine to see what the proof is. I think it's 131.
That is insane when you think about the whole Sazerac brand.
It's probably the highest thing out there
by far.
Yeah,
I don't think anything like other than one you're fixing to talk about. Yeah. Nothing even comes close. And this is this one you're fixing to talk about. It's kind of new.
I don't know what the
like none of the other Taylors do.
The B tax come in at.
So some of those are in the 110s to 120.
I want to say that,
but nothing gets to over 130. Nothing else gets over to 130.
That might be true. I haven't done the research on it, to be completely honest, so I don't know for a fact. But that's the heater today, right? Like that's the monster on the table tonight.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so since I went so far up one end of the spectrum, I decided to go to the opposite end with the other bottles, right? So the other bottles are actually 2 Criteria bottles from the same distillery. Benchmark is the Buffalo Trace entry level bottles. So we've got the full proof and the bonded. The full proof comes in at a whopping 125 proof, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And the bonded, of course, is 4 years, 100 proof. So you know what bonded means. Or if you don't, it means you haven't been watching our podcast, because we've gone over it a couple of times. But that 125 is a hitter at 125.
It kind of came in on the back end and was like, hey, I'm still here.
Yeah, the initial taste profile was phenomenal. And
well, even the aroma, you don't really get a whole lot of ethanol in the aroma. I was kind of surprised about that.
It was just like, yeah, I'm here.
Right.
So, it was interesting.
It's like, wake up. I don't come to the party. So,
but where are you going to start along the line?
Man, I don't even know. Like, I hate to go straight to the banger. So I think I'm actually going to go with the Taylor single barrel.
All right.
So
I'll go there as well.
I actually have not had this in a long time. I bought it. I found it. Got lucky. It was a points bottle. But let's see. It should be pretty well. It's about half gone.
It's taking a little bit of
a dent.
It's taking a dent there.
Yeah. Well, sharing amongst friends, and there you go. So I want to say this retails around $80 or so, if you can find it at retail.
Right.
Something like that.
The fruitiness and the aroma immediately, like, such a good pour, man. I haven't even tasted it yet, but I've been lucky enough to share in this bottle a few times, so
yeah.
I know what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah, it's just a step up from the small batch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're getting same proof, but all the flavors are just enhanced. It's very, very floral and fruity on the nose.
Such a great pour, man.
Completely unoffensive, right?
Yeah, it's like it's everything you want from a good whiskey bourbon, right? Like, the aroma is great. It has a good long finish. It's not too proofy, but it's also not too low proof.
Yeah.
All of the flavors pop out at you. I mean, it's an overall good bottle.
I've had a few sample pours today before we got started.
Yeah.
Just to have a few sample pours, whatever. But this is leaps and bounds above anything else that I've had so far.
Yeah, I mean, the sample pours were benchmark, and we won't name the other one because I'm a fan, but
I'm a fan of that. But this is just everything I want from a bourbon.
It's hard for that other one to compete with what this is, right? Just because of it's relatively young in comparison to what this distillery has been doing for quite some time. They source almost all of their stuff. So,
oh my goodness, that's so good. Like, it's just a hint of caramel, hint of oak, lots of floral, lots of fruit, and I would say bright fruits, not dark fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Like apple, pear, like those kinds of, you know what I'm saying?
What's funny right now is, if you think back to when we originally started this podcast, we always said we're not the guys to give you those complex tasting notes. But recently we have stepped up to having so many different pours and different experiences, right? That's becoming a normal thing.
You just start to taste it.
You just start to taste those things.
You start to pick it out,
Yeah.
And I mean, it just takes time and takes lots of drinking.
A ton of drinking. Like, a ton of drinking. Let's just be honest. With that being said, let's take this moment to say what we say. Drink responsibly, okay?
Absolutely.
I don't want to say we're professionals, but we're pretty damn good at it, so we know what we're doing. We make sure we stay hydrated, but while we're here, make sure to tell you guys to like, comment, subscribe, hit that little bell so that you get notifications when we drop new content, because we're really going after this thing, so make sure you tap in with us.
I don't hate it.
I don't love it. So that's not a knock, right? Not a knock. It's not a cigar that I would toss out as of right now.
And that was my biggest worry. Like this thing's we're gonna smoke it for the episode and then toss it.
But it also is not complex.
Yeah, it's pretty one-dimensional.
There's nothing special about it. But it tastes okay.
And I guess where my hang-up is going to be the price for what I'm getting.
Truth be told, I don't remember what we paid for it.
It was like $13.
Okay. So
at that price point, I can think of so many other cigars that I would much rather have.
There are a ton that I would rather smoke. Absolutely.
So I think they're charging about as much as they possibly could. But
yeah, they're stretching, to be honest. They're selling it based on the name.
They are selling it based on the name. And I mean, this is one of those, like, I feel like they're going to take a while to sell. People are going to smoke one and just be like, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to do this again. Like, these are going to take a while to move at that price point.
Yeah.
Because all the other ones are like sub 10, I think.
Nah, not the Pappy. The Pappy ain't sub 10.
Not the Pappy. No, I'm talking about.
I don't know if the other Eagle Rare is.
I'm talking about the Eagle Rare and the two buff traces.
Yeah.
I think you can get those for sub 10. I think. I don't remember, but the Pappy is different, right? I mean, I feel like the Pappy's in a different class.
It is.
Just because
I can say the new Pappy is a true premium cigar.
Yes. I mean, they actually, again, they have Pappy involved. Like, the barrels are involved. Like, it's not just a name band.
So the other part of this is me and Jason are smoking two different Vitolas.
Oh, shit, we are. I didn't even notice that.
Truth be told, I wish I would have gone with your Vitola.
This is like the Corona.
It's probably like a petite or something like that.
It's like a Corona Extra.
Yeah,
so it's like
maybe,
a long Corona.
Mine looks like full-blown Robusto.
Yeah, at least. You might have a Toro.
It might be a Toro, to be completely honest. Let me see if it says
got like
does it say?
Toro, like a Toro Gordo.
It does. It doesn't say. But reason I'm saying that, this Vitola means I'm gonna have to smoke it longer.
And you got a lot more filler and binder too.
Yeah, right. So it's just I'm getting a lot more of it than Jason probably is, and that may be one of the reasons why I'm just not enjoying as much as he is at the moment, because
I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm like enjoying it. It's not offensive.
Yeah, like it's smokable.
It's smokable.
I just don't want to smoke it all the time, and I don't want to pay the price point for it. To be completely honest, we'd love to hear your thoughts and process and on it. If you've tried it, if you want to try it,
I mean, there's just nothing remarkable.
It's a cigar.
It's a cigar.
It's a cigar.
I'll say this: the construction is great.
It looks like it was done
The
well.
ash is holding on very well. The color looks great. You know, it's a nearly clean burn line.
Yeah.
It's just not a great flavor.
Yeah.
Is all it is. The strength is there.
I'll say this: if what they're going for is this actually looking like the cigar, I would have liked to have seen the color be a little bit closer, or excuse me, look like the bourbon itself.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with like I don't know. It's just off. It's just off in color. You know, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I'm not gonna do the band thing just because
you don't need
it's literally copied from E.H. Taylor.
Yeah.
Like, if you've seen an E.H. Taylor bottle, that is what you're looking at here. Like the picture is there and everything, so it is literally a carbon copy. The color's just off on it. So
yeah, it's a little bit lighter than it should be, right?
Yeah,
it's not.
And the writing is weird. Like, you know, I don't know. But I mean, it does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
When we seen it, we said, "Oh, that's an E.H. Taylor cigar." Like it was easy to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm glad that where we went and got these, had them out. You know, you could just buy them in singles, try it, because I really did want to try it. But
well, the marketing plug on it was perfect. It was right by the register.
Yeah, of course.
It was like, "Oh, it's here. I might as well."
Yeah.
Right? Not a whole lot of thought in it. It's right here by the register.
Well, it was perfect because, like I say, I didn't want to buy a box.
No, impulse buy. Like, totally an impulse buy.
I'm like, I actually wanted to try one of these, so hey, let me just grab it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, look, that's the great thing about having a B&M near you.
Right.
You can go in, you can buy singles and try stuff you don't want to buy in 5-packs, 10-packs, boxes, whatever. You go in there and you buy the one to see if you like it or not.
Yeah. And for the noobs, B&M brick and mortar.
Yes.
Just in case you didn't know.
So, go visit your brick and mortars, go to different ones because they don't all have the same stuff. I know, like, a lot of times we feel like we walk into a store and it's like, oh, well, they just have the same stuff as that other store over there.
Yeah.
Right? But a lot of times they don't. You just have to be a little bit more, like, I don't know, diligent or a little more of an eagle eye.
You've got to do your own thing, right? Like, you've actually got to go in there and walk around and look, right?
Like, really look.
Really look, like, because there's so many cigar brands out there. Like, yes. If you're not really looking and actively searching, you're going to miss something.
Yep.
So there are a lot of great cigars out there, man. And if you go to your brick and mortar, a lot of times you're going to find some boutique stuff, right, that one cigar lounge has that another doesn't have, which is what I recommend you try. You know what your staples are. I know what my staples are in my humidor, what I always want to have. But I also like to grab some stuff that I don't have and just give it a shot.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
But yeah, I will say it's not a bad cigar. It's just not a great cigar, right? Like, it's very much smokable. I don't want to pay what I've paid for it. Honestly, I think I paid more for this one than you paid for yours.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I think you paid more like $15 for that one.
Probably. I bought a few that day, so like it was lumped in to buy. The place where we were had a deal: buy 5 get 1 free. So it was lumped in. So ultimately, it probably reduced the cost of it just a bit because I got 1 free. But at the end of the day, I can give you my conclusion right now. I wouldn't buy it again.
I'm with you. I wouldn't buy it again. I'll smoke it.
Yeah.
Be honest. Halfway through, probably wouldn't hurt my feelings. Put it down.
At $13, it hurts mine. And I guess that's not really true. I blow $13 and much more meaningless shit. But hey, let's talk about the weekend.
Let's talk about the weekend.
I know you went crazy on football Saturday, baby.
Man, oh man. And it was right off the bat too, man. My team played right at noon. And we were yelling at the TV the whole time. To be fair, we're lucky we won that game. Second half rolled up, and I'm just like, man, I don't even care about my bet anymore. I just want us to win.
Right.
But it's just, I know we were playing away, and I know that the other team just, whooped the team they had played the week before. I get it, but it's just, and I know it's like week 2 or whatever it was. I think it was week 2. And so the rankings don't really mean much. I'm not really looking at the rankings right now.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of looking at who they played and how they're playing and, that sort of thing. But it wasn't a great bet weekend for me. I had a losing weekend, but it wasn't all that bad. I think I lost like $10, which I don't bet big. So I bet $3 a game or something like that.
You're better than me. I don't like losing money, man. So I don't bet at all in most cases. Just ain't my thing.
Right. I got you.
Unfortunately, I didn't catch many of the games this weekend. I was kind of busy. But I know you're on it, so I'm here to get your recap because I didn't get my chance.
So I gave you my pain, so now I'm going to take some of yours. Did you catch any of the Dallas game?
Oh,
man.
So the game started at 1:00. My wife wanted to go see Beetlejuice.
Okay.
All right. So before we go into Beetlejuice, right, that I look at the score and it's like already 14-3 or something like that. I'm like, not starting out well. Okay. I come out of the theater, look at the score.
Did you just hang your head? Like you can't even be upset. Like
my wife said, "What's
off.
wrong?" She said, "What's wrong?" I said, Dallas. She said, "That bad?"
Dude,
they got monkey stomped.
Like, every analyst beforehand. Like I watched one channel and then I flipped over to the channel that they were actually going to play on, so I got to see a whole other set of analysts. Both of them were saying that I think they played Carolina the week before, Saints did.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about how, Carolina's crap. That's not a good measure. Yeah, they scored 40-something points, but that's not a good measure.
Then they came and put it on Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas is this is a Super Bowl caliber team, blah, 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 right? And they came out and scored 91 points in 2 weeks.
Yeah. So watching the highlights, our defense just didn't step up.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and your offense couldn't do anything either.
No, like they had us packed up, backed up, like it was just bad. Like, overall, as a whole, we got to step up. Again, I'm not a fan of McCarthy. Y'all gonna hear that. That's a repeated theme that I'm going to say. I think he's an outdated coach. I don't care how much he said he went and learned and looked at, and he's outdated. It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's really it, man. Like,
I feel you.
Not pretty.
I feel
what I'm saying? So, but yeah, the one game I did think that was funny was Colorado. College football, Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado and Colorado State.
Colorado State talked a whole lot of stuff.
They sure did.
And
last year they stomped the hell out of them.
Hey, listen, and it was all of that. That social media and jewelry can't save you and blah blah blah. Listen, man. Folks better learn, like, stop talking before you walk out on this field.
Man, you ain't even lying.
Because, egos get involved and people play different when them egos get involved, right?
Man. So, they do.
That game was kind of funny to me. I'm not cool with all the theatrics. I'd love to see some of the theatrics go away in Colorado, really get focused and lock in. But also at the same time, I'm not mad at what's going on, right? Because he got to build the brand.
Yeah, and I mean, look, they're not going to have some explosive season, right? Like, that's just not going to happen at a school like Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
He's in a different league right now, right?
Absolutely.
Where he came from, I think, what was it, Jackson State? I think that's an HBCU, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just a different league, right? And so you can do different things in that kind of a league, right? But now you're in an FBS league,
and you need players, man. Like
you need
problem right now, you need players.
Like, you got a guy. I love it that you found a guy that can play both sides of the ball.
But, yeah.
But you're
Travis Hunter's special.
But you're depending on a guy to play both sides of the ball,
yeah.
And like you can't do that. Like, a guy can't play solid for 60 minutes.
I will say this: I think Shador is special too. I think
sure.
their quarterback is special.
No, I don't disagree.
Shador Sanders, I think, is special. I
don't disagree.
They got to get a line. Their line does not look great, man.
Right. So I feel like he's in a really good spot to do something great at a school that no one was looking at before.
Absolutely.
So I think this is a great stepping stone for him to possibly go on to an even bigger school. So we'll see. The other game I want to talk about is that damn Georgia-Kentucky game.
Hey.
What the hell?
That's the upset.
Was that?
That's
Like,
the upset.
even though they won, that was an upset.
That's the upset.
Like, what in the actual hell was going on with that game? Like, especially looking at how they played the previous week.
Yeah.
Like, Kentucky couldn't do shit. Like, every phase of the game was just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come into this game, and it's not that Georgia was playing bad. It's just that Kentucky was doing everything right.
Great.
They were doing everything right. And Georgia just could not break free from that. And so it was down to the wire. So listen, I took a bet on that game, just like I do with all my games ahead of, right?
Okay.
I do either night before or the morning of. I go ahead and I take the full day's bets.
Okay.
And then at that point, it's just watch and have fun, right?
I got it.
But that game, I'm like, okay, I might have to take what I guess you would call a hedge bet.
Okay.
So I'm watching the money line, just watching it, right? It's just constantly updating, right? And I'm like, okay, if this thing drops, first I said if it drops below 150, a minus 150 to Georgia, I'm going to take
Going in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it got close, but it didn't quite get there. And then it went up to something crazy because Georgia scored. It went up to like minus 800 or something like that, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep watching it though, right? And then Kentucky scores again, and it starts to come back down again, right? And I'm like, okay, you know what? If it gets below 200, minus 200, I'm taking it.
Yeah.
$10.
Jumped in.
It hit 178. Boom. Lock it in.
Sound like the stock market, baby. Like it.
Like, literally had my phone out, ready to go, just watching it the whole time while I'm watching the game, And so, of course, Georgia won, so I won that bet. So it totally offset the loss from the spread bet. But it's just funny, like, the live bets. It's a different dynamic, especially with college because you don't have all the options.
Yeah.
With NFL, dude, it's like
it's
hundreds
crazy.
of options.
That's part of the reason why I don't bet, to be completely honest. It's overwhelming. Like, it's just overwhelming. It's too much.
Well, again, with pro, I get that.
Yeah.
And I just don't know enough about pro and the players, right? It's all about player props.
Yeah.
And I don't know enough about the players to make those kinds of bets.
That makes sense.
So I stick with college, where you only get like halves, quarters, over unders, and that's pretty much it. Like they don't do player props in college, at least not where I bet. So it's a little bit simpler. It's just more games.
I got you.
Right. And so, but it's fun. What was there was another one that I was kind of surprised with. Missouri.
Didn't see any of that. Here, before we jump to that, I'll say this. Every team that Georgia plays here on out is salivating at the mouth, right? So, like, Kentucky came in and gave you a run for your money. We have a chance of beating you now.
Yep.
So the question being, is Georgia going to actually take that step now and play to their potential, or are they going to keep playing around down there and playing down to the teams that they're playing?
Right.
Which is kind of what the Cowboys do.
Absolutely they do.
So, but okay, on to Missouri.
So this was another game that was supposed to be something like 16, 17-point spread. And, I mean, they struggled most of the game. Yeah. I think they won by like 6 points or something like that. But it's just one of those things of like, I hate when I see these large spreads. Like, you look at the Vols, and the Vols, they got the over-under. They got the over-under by themselves, much less the spread.
Listen.
Like, that thing was ridiculous. It was like 71-0.
Yeah. And I know the Vols haven't played anybody yet, but listen, they looking real dominant. So. Yeah.
I mean, so who did they play? You say that, but last week I thought they started out with UTC, and then I thought they played somebody else.
Was it UTC?
Yeah, they played UTC to start with. Which, okay, I think you're right. They haven't really played anybody yet. But it's funny, like the coach, they interviewed him after the game, and he's like, when they asked him about running up the score, he was like, we don't really care, who we're playing. They're nameless and faceless. We're just playing against a team.
Yeah.
We don't care who they are. We're gonna do what we're gonna do.
If they die, they die.
Yeah. If they get snuffed, they get snuffed. It's like, man, you look at something like that and you're like, geez, sometimes I feel like we need a skunk rule in football.
Well, I mean, I'm not mad at that though, man. Like we live in this society where it's like, take mercy. Like,
right.
Your team prepared.
You had just as much time and
came in with the engine running, at peak, conditions. So I'm supposed to handicap mine because yours isn't running in the condition it's supposed to.
Right.
Your problem, not mine. So would it be okay to see a mercy rule? Like if you're up by 40, but then again,
yeah. I mean, so now we have a stat
depending
problem.
on when you're up by 40, right? Like if it's first half,
right,
game could change second half.
And then we have a stat problem, right? So now you're taking stats away from players when you do that, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Just sometimes it's just like, man, like this is just a slaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, let me finish my pour here.
So I think we're close. We're close to time, right?
Probably. I didn't actually look and see when we started.
I kind of paid attention to mine. I think we're about 29 minutes in. So shall we do final thoughts?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
All right. You go ahead. You just finished up your pour.
Man, that pour is just great. I mean, it's just a notch up from the small batch. But if you can find the small batch, get it. Like, it's just one of those things of, like, if you don't have that sitting on your bar somewhere, you see it somewhere, you just need to go ahead and get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very approachable from a price point, from a proof point. It's like 7 to 8 years, something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's just a really great pour.
Yeah.
And then if you can find any of the ones up from there, go for it. If it's in your realm of your pocketbook and all that kind of stuff, go for it.
Buy it.
Yeah, man.
Buy it. I don't disagree.
And then on the cigar, I mean, I feel like we've done everything to it that we could. It's not the worst thing I've ever smoked. It's in my lifetime, I've only put down 3 cigars within 5 minutes of lighting. 3.
Yeah, within 5 minutes of lighting. Yeah, okay. I'll let you finish your final thought. Go ahead.
So it's not that.
No,
it's not one of those.
No,
but I definitely wouldn't want to buy it again. I probably wouldn't smoke it again. I mean, I would accept it if somebody gave it to me. Probably just re-gift it. Just being honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's about all I got. It's just kind of sub-average.
Right. So I'm gonna start with the cigar, and I'm gonna try to give it some praises, just because I don't want it to be all negative. It's an average cigar. You can smoke it. It's an approachable cigar and smokable, right? For those people that like cigars that are not very complex, this is a cigar for you. As far as the construction, smoke production, combustion go, everything was on point.
Yeah.
You can look at my cigar and see, like, I've got a really even burn, a great ash. I've had no issues with it going out. Smoke production was great. It's just one-dimensional, which is why I don't like it.
It just doesn't cross the finish line.
Right. It doesn't do anything special for me. It doesn't give me anything extra. And it's probably also a little light for my palate. If you're going to be one-dimensional, have some oomph.
It's got some strength, but not very much.
Not very much, right?
Yeah,
it's a lower-end medium body cigar.
I would say it's somewhere in the medium.
Right. So with that being said, I think it's an okay cigar. My biggest problem with this cigar is I would not pay $13 for it.
Right.
It is a sub $10 stick. That's my 2 cents on that.
Love it.
As far as the pour goes, man, like, listen, E.H. Taylor checks every box, regardless of which one you buy. It has the right proof. It has the right age. It has the right flavor profile. It's not hot. It's not underwhelming as far as taste goes. You get everything you want from an E.H. Taylor. And it doesn't matter which one you buy, whether it be small batch, single barrel, barrel proof, or any of the other ones that are out there.
Right.
You're going to enjoy it. If you don't, it might just be something wrong with you. I'm just being honest. Especially if you can find them at retail.
Right.
If you can find any E.H. Taylor at retail, you're winning. Point blank period, right? You're winning. With that being said, that's all I got.
Wrap it up, man.
All right. Well, y'all know what it is, man. Another episode of High Proof Ashes. Thank y'all for joining. We are out here at OCL on their new deck. Hopefully we'll get to put it to some more use as these months come past, and it cools down like it is right now. But my name is Duran, my partner.
Jason JB Smoke. We'll see y'all on the next one. Put some smoke in the air.